Hi True Crime family, I'm Manju and welcome back to my channel where we talk about true crime cases from around the world. Today we're going to be going to the United Kingdom. This is 23-year-old Louise Proton, and she killed her 3-year-old daughter and 16-month-old daughter because they were getting in the way of her sex life. Now, before we get into what happened, let's discuss Louise's childhood. Allegedly, it wasn't great. Now, first off, a violent childhood is no way a reason or okay to murder anyone or hurt anyone, let alone children. A cousin of Louise's came out and described her childhood as violent. She would attack her family and steal from her grandmother. This relative believed that for the amount of crimes that she had taken part in from her childhood, she should be facing the death penalty. Louise was an angry child, and as she grew up in her teenage years, she got worse. She was always after money and would do anything for money. The cousin also said that allegedly when they would all go to their nan's house, Louise would try to hurt others without the adults seeing. She would never interact with anyone, and she would just sit back and stare. Now her mother, on the other hand, Sharon, described Louise as a happy and loving person and that something snapped in her head, and that is how she became a monster. In January 2018, dispatch received a chilling call from Louise. She said her 3-year-old daughter Lexi needed help. Now, when the paramedics arrived at the scene, they found Lexi's lifeless body freezing cold. Mind you, this was the second time paramedics were called for Lexi. The first time, the situation was similar, but they were able to revive her. Now, 2 weeks later, after Lexi's death, paramedics were called again, but this time in a parking lot, and once they arrived, they found 16-month-old Scarlett dead. Louise was arrested and her phone was seized. When the police went through her phone, they saw extremely disturbing Google searches such as how long does it take a body to go cold up to the shoulder, and 5 weird things that happen when you die. This case had a 5-week trial, and prosecutor Oliver opened up with a remark saying the overwhelming inference is that Lexi and Scarlett died because someone deliberately interfered with their breathing. That someone can only have been this defendant. Now, this claim was backed up by doctors who said that the girls didn't seem to have any prior medical problems or conditions that would have caused this, and it seemed more like deliberate airway obstruction. And also, Scarlett has signs of recent bleeding in her neck tissue, suggestive of neck compression. Now, during trial, Mom Louise denied killing her daughters, but there was clear evidence of that not being the case. It was revealed that 2 weeks before Lexi's death, on January 2nd and 4th, she was sent home with antibiotics due to a chest infection. Now, while Lexi was getting treated at the hospital, Louise went to the restroom and took topless pictures and sent them to a man. And a few days later, after her January 4th visit, Louise allegedly searched, "Can you actually die if you have a blocked nose and cover your mouth with tape?" Prosecutors also showed the jury footage that Louise had carried Scarlett from the hotel room in Rugby to the car the night Scarlett died. Whereas during the call to dispatch, Louise claimed that Scarlett had suddenly collapsed while they were driving. Again, when the paramedics arrived, Scarlett was dead and cold to the touch, proving she had been dead for quite some time. After talking to multiple different people and looking at her phone chat and Google search history, it is believed the reasoning why Louise killed her daughters is because they got in the way of what she wanted, when she wanted, and with whom she wanted. Louise was known to spend hours every day talking to men on dating apps such as Meet Me. At times, she would leave her kids with relatives or her landlord so she could meet her clients. and other times the kids would be in the same room with her with the male client. Allegedly, Louise told one client that they can have sex despite being in the same room as both of her children if they were quiet. On another occasion, Louise allegedly said that she had sex in a van with a man called Simple Simon as her kids slept. This is the profile the Sun Online revealed that she had up on the website and revealed that her work name was Lollipop. She's boasting about all kinds of photo shoots that she can do and how open-minded she is to just about anything. During trial, it was revealed that when Lexi was getting treated during a prior hospitalization, Louise not only sent racy pictures to a client, but also exchanged numbers with a security guard there and sent him a series of messages agreeing to meet a photographer and perform sexual acts on him. The day before Lexi's death, Louise messaged a man telling him, "I'm just having a tough time with my 3-year-old being ill from a deadly flu. Doctors telling me she's gonna die." The day of Lexi's death, around 2 hours prior to Lexi passing away, Louise was searching how long it took a body to go cold to the shoulder, along with "Is it true you yourself when you die? For how long after drowning can someone be resuscitated?" When the paramedics arrived around 1 a.m., they said when they saw Lexi, her skin was pale and molted, and her lips were blue with rigor mortis already settling in, proving she had been dead for quite some time. A day after Lexi's death, Louise accepted 41 friend requests on a dating app. A day after that, so 2 days after Lexi's death, Louise was laughing at a funeral parlor as she arranged Lexi's burial. She apparently also yawned when asked what she was going to do with her belongings and acted like someone who had just lost their goldfish. Throughout the 5-week trial, Louise remained calm and emotionless. 2 weeks later, after Lexi's death, Louise went through the same plan of waiting until the child died and then calling dispatch. Louise had sent text messages earlier on the day 16-month-old Scarlett had died to get money out of a man called Patrick so she could take the toddler to the hospital. Now, messages shared by the Mirror show that Louise wrote, "Any chance of putting 30 in my bank now for fuel to get my daughter Scarlett to the hospital? I will transfer it back Wednesday." She then sent 7 more WhatsApp messages in just over a minute, saying the little girl was not well and saying that she was not losing another baby. Now, Patrick responded to these worrying text messages, telling Louise to call the ambulance and not to waste any time, hun. But that night, Louise was filmed on CCTV as she stopped to fill up gas in her car, and Scarlett was dying in the back seat of the car. She later pulled over in a rental park and dialed 111 to report concern for her sleeping child. At first, Louise repeatedly denied having anything to do with their deaths, saying, "Why would I kill my own kids? My children were never an inconvenience to me, and I accommodated my lifestyle and personal life around them. It is correct that my life as a single mother was financially difficult, but I never asked anyone for money, and any suggestion that I used my daughter's ill health or death to make money is wholly inaccurate and wrong." She made herself look like a good mother and said she never regretted having either Lexi or Scarlett. She said they were always giving her something to do. She would allegedly take them to places like parks and try to give them everything they wanted. Now, Louise's former landlord spoke up and said the complete opposite. Louise would palm off her children at every opportunity. Allegedly, Louise would also get frustrated and swear at her children on the rare occasion that she would look after them. When the children would cry and not always do what they were asked to do, she would tell them to shut the F up, or she would give them something to cry for. Now you may be wondering, where is the father of the girls? This is the dad's, Chris's, statement. He was banned from seeing the children, never even met Scarlett, and said that the only comfort he has is knowing that the girls are together. During the trial and after the verdict, Detective Superintendent Pete Hill said, "I will never be able to understand why Louise Porton murdered her children, Lexi and Scarlett. It is clear from the evidence that Porton tried to kill her daughter Lexi on at least 2 occasions prior to her death on January 15, 2018. Not content with killing one of her children, she did exactly the same to her other daughter Scarlett on February 1st, 2018. She has lied repeatedly to friends, family, and professionals to cover her tracks. At no point throughout the whole investigation has she ever shown any real signs of emotion. Our thoughts are with the families of Lexi and Scarlett." This here is the CCTV of the girls' final moments before being brutally taken from this world. Now, before announcing the verdict, the judge said Louise had no medical history or mental disorder that goes any way to explaining what happened in this case. One way or another, you squeezed the life out of each of your daughters, only calling the emergency services when you knew they were dead. I am sure at the times of the death, you intended to kill each of your daughters. Why you did so, only you would know. After a 5-week trial, Louise Porton was sentenced to a minimum of 32 years in prison after being found guilty of 2 accounts of murder at the Birmingham Crown Court after just 5 hours of deliberation. Now, in this picture, the older woman you see here is Louise's mom, Sharon, and the baby is Louise herself. And on the 2nd-year anniversary of the death of Lexi and Scarlett, Louise's mother, Sharon, was found dead in her home. It is believed that she took her life because she was tormented that her own daughter took the lives of her grandchildren, and she couldn't handle the taunts and verbal abuse of the people she knew. That is it for today's case. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts you would like to share, please leave it down below. And until next time, bye.